Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. I know it has been a while, but I am back. November through basically yesterday have been nuts for work. So I've had to kind of slow down on the videos, but I have tons of ideas to do things for you guys. And today I'm really excited because if you follow me on my other social media outlets like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, you would know that I have been trying out two new foundations, the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Cushion Foundation and the Cover FX Cream Foundation. I have been hearing really good things about both of these foundations recently, and since I was ready to switch things up, I was really excited to go out, find these things, try them out, and then bring them to you guys as a review. So, without further ado, let's get started. So the first one I want to talk about is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Cushion Foundation, and this is what it looks like. And you open it up and you have your little spongy top. You actually pop this open and then the makeup is right in there, and it's actually on and in that little sponge inside. I want to start with how I found the color first, and then I'll kind of talk about the different ways I've applied it and what my actual thoughts on the makeup and longevity of it. Normally I wear an NC35 in MAC, 124 in Makeup Forever, even though it tends to be a little light. I just kind of like, you know, warm it up a little bit. So that's kind of where I am normally on my normal scale. When I went to purchase this foundation, I found it at Walgreens, and it comes in W, N, and C, and I want to say there's 3 shades in warm, 3 shades in neutral, 3 shades in the cool. And what was kind of nice at Walgreens anyway was they had these little stickers, little strips, where you peel the sticker of W colors and you can lay them across your neck or your face. And same thing with the neutral, and there was a cool strip. So it kind of gives you an idea of where you should be looking, whether it's the W, the N, or the C, which helps when you can't color match and test them in the store. I found that the W's, the warms, were still pretty pink, and the cools were pretty cool. So obviously that leaves me with the neutral, which was interesting to me because I tend to be more kind of a warm golden undertone, but these don't really run that way. So I narrowed it down to the neutral shades, and I found that I was in between, well, based on the sticker, it looked like I was in between the 3.5 and the 5.5, and the difference between the two was pretty drastic. So at first I wasn't sure which way to go, and I picked the N 3.5 because I figured if it was a little light, I could warm it up, whereas if it was too dark, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. One thing I do want to mention is the price point of the Lumi Cushion Foundation. It's a little bit higher than what I was anticipating. I always go in assuming that the drugstore brands are going to be around like the $10 mark, and this was actually $16.99 at Walgreens. Now I know it's new, so I'm sure the price point will fluctuate and change a little bit, but yeah, I was kind of taken back by that at first. So I figured $16.99, this better be good. First time I tried this on, I did it with bare skin. When I try a new foundation on for the first time, I like to know how it does on its own before I start powdering it and applying my blush and my other products on top. I like to get a good idea of what it can do by itself. Now, the first time I put it on, I did use the sponge that comes with it, and I blotted it on, and it worked really well. I was surprised, again, surprised, that it looked so good. And the 3.5 actually looked light at first, but it did oxidize once I got the whole thing on and kind of let it set. So just be ready for that. The first time you put it on, it might look light, but I would say give it like 2 minutes to really just let it set on the skin before you decide that it is or isn't your shade. So once I got it on for the first time, it looked good, and I was super pumped. I was like, dude, $16 compared to what I pay for my higher end stuff. I was all about it. About 2 hours after wearing it, I did notice that it was already creasing under the eye, which didn't surprise me in the least bit. I normally have a problem with creasing under the eye, and so I always have to set with powder. So I was anticipating that. That didn't surprise me at all. And my skin looked really nice. It looked really fresh. It looked dewy. So I guess if you don't like the dewy look, this is not gonna be for you. And it looked nice. Honestly, again, I was pretty okay with how it was going the first time around. By the end of the day, however, I did look like a grease ball. I didn't touch up throughout the day. Again, I just want to see how it did on its own. And at one point towards the end of the day, I picked up my little one, and she's super fair, like Snow White fair. And I hugged her, and then I put her down so she could run and play. And as I put her down, I noticed my makeup had transferred hardcore. And her little white face had like this big old tan cheek from when it touched my cheek. So that right there told me that I was going to have to set this with a powder. My normal skin type is, I would say, normal to combination. I don't get super dry. I don't get super oily. I do kind of get a little glisten down the T-zone. And I mean, during that time of the month, things go a little crazy, but pretty much like normal to combo. If you are more on the oily side, you are absolutely going to need to set this with a powder and be ready to blot throughout the day. If you are on the dry side, however, you are going to love the hydration of this baby. And then if you're, you know, normal to combo like me, set it. I didn't have to touch up or blot. So yeah, that's kind of what I found anyway. Now, when it comes to applying this product, the first time I used it, I did use the sponge and kind of, you know, blotted it, and it worked really well. The next time I tried it with a brush, and I didn't like it so much. I think maybe because I used a denser brush, but the denser foundation brushes are really better for blending out kind of heavier, fuller, creamier types of foundations, and more fluid and liquidy the foundation is. I think a sponge is usually the better way to go, if not your fingers. Now, I did try it with a damp beauty blender, and it worked okay. I feel like it thinned it out more than what I was hoping. So if you're using the beauty blender, you're probably gonna have to do a couple of layers. And if you use the little sponge it comes with, though, it actually works pretty well. Overall, though, I'm actually really happy with this foundation. I will probably use it till the end. And who knows, maybe I'll buy it a second time, which is a big deal because I get bored. And if I buy a foundation a second time around, I mean, that says something. So $16, I highly would recommend this product. The second foundation, which I'm still kind of trying out, honestly, so this is gonna be more of like a first impressions type of deal, is the Cover FX Cream Foundation, which looks like this, and looks like this. So this, OMG Batman. So it's a little bit more on the expensive side. I wanna say it's $42. I picked mine up from Sephora. And this is one of those things where I really wasn't sure how it was gonna work for me. It looked great on other people's photos. There's an Instagrammer who used it and put it on really heavy, and it was like super cake face, which, not that I don't love a good cake face, okay, like let's be honest, but for me personally every day, it looked a little much, and so I really wasn't sure what to expect when I went to Sephora to try this out. I'm familiar with the ForeverFX brand. I don't think I've ever purchased anything from it, but just from doing makeup for so long, I've seen it in other people's kits and I've played with it and I've tested it and yada yada. But I've never like been so in love with anything that I felt like it could replace other things that I've already used in my kit. Now, the ForeverFX foundation is definitely a full coverage foundation. Just like you wouldn't go buy the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation, which I love by the way, thinking you're gonna get a natural look out of it. Don't expect that from this either. The first time I applied it, I used my Real Techniques brush, this little guy here, this number 301. And if you followed me on my Snapchat, it was just a couple of days ago, and I was just kind of dabbing it on as I usually do with foundation. And it is so highly pigmented, and it's got this great creamy texture to it. So if you are normal to dry skin, your skin is going to absolutely love the texture of this. It's real thick and it can be a little difficult to blend out. You really have to be ready for coverage. If you're not ready for coverage, it might feel a little overwhelming and a little heavy, and you really do have to work at blending it out. So if you are not normally a full coverage kind of gal, this might not be for you. Because I didn't set it, once again, within an hour I creased under the eyes. Now I normally crease under the eyes, that's nothing new, but the heavier and the creamier the foundations, the quicker it will crease under there for me. I already kind of knew to expect that. So with it creasing the way it did within the first hour, it wasn't a big like turn off for me. I was expecting it. Everything else held up pretty decently. I would say by the end of the day, let's see, I put it on like 7 in the morning. By 4 p.m., it did look like I needed to powder and kind of dab. I was looking a little oily. But again, cream foundation, full coverage, that didn't surprise me. So let's go to how I picked my color. I grabbed the G40. These colors come in, again, warm, cools, and neutrals. G has more of the golden undertones in it, and then N are the neutrals, C are the cools, and I just knew that the cools were gonna work for me. So I was looking at the G and then the N. Now, just looking at them, because I've been doing makeup for so long and I can kind of hone in on what my shade is if I can see it and touch it, I automatically went to G40 and I wanted to compare it to the N40. The N had a lot more pink in it. This had a lot more golden in it. It goes from 40 and then it jumps up to 50, so there's no like 4.5 or 45, it's just 40 to 50, and there's a big difference between those two shades. So once again, I was stuck because I felt like I could possibly be a 45, but there isn't one. So it was so nice. One of the Sephora guys came over and offered to color match me on my neck, and he was telling me that he normally recommends clients to go towards the neutrals, and I already know, again from doing it so long, that any kind of pink undertone in makeup comes out on me so easily that I just already knew I was gonna need that golden one. But he works at Sephora, he deals with ForeverFX on a daily basis, so I let him color match me. And it was so funny because he put on the N, he was like, oh yeah, that looks good. This is gonna look good. I think the G is gonna be too gold for you. And then he put on the G and he stood back and he's like, well, I think I like the G. So he took me in the mirror and I looked and I was like, yep, we need the golden. Let's do this. So he grabbed the G40 for me and I took it home. Again, I think it's like $42. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna grab, I have the NC35 MAC like full coverage cream foundation. Let me grab that so I can compare it for you. Hold on one second. Okay, so here are the two foundations. This is the NC35 full coverage foundation by MAC, and this is the G40. See how much golder that is? The 35 full coverage actually goes pink on me if I don't set it. Overall, so far my first impressions with ForeverFX is that it's a great full coverage foundation. If you tend to be more on the oily side, you're definitely gonna need to set this with powder, even just a light translucent, but do expect to have to kind of blot throughout the day if you're oily, because it is a cream. If you are normal to dry though, your skin is going to love this. The other thing that I noticed, I don't think I mentioned, is that I feel like it really does, maybe because it's so thick, I don't know, but it really does make my texture of my skin look smoother. I have it on right now. Yeah, so first impression is that I really like it. I'm happy with it, and I'm probably gonna keep playing with it a little bit more so that I can give maybe an updated review on how it works with my full face. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped you make a decision if you were looking at trying either one of these. Maybe you're in the market and a new foundation anyway. I don't know, but I hope you liked it. If you have any other questions regarding the foundations, just comment down below. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And if there's any other products that are out on the market or coming out in the market that you would like my 2 cents on, let me know. I'd be happy to try those out, give you my first impressions and my reviews. Follow me on my social media outlets to stay updated, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Oh, Lord Jesus, my hair. You guys won't mind another bun video, right?